Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you may be listening, whatever time it may be. My name is Ryan Dooley, and welcome to Let's Talk Football. We have got a lot to talk about today. The end of the NFL regular season is here. The playoffs are here. The draft order is set. So much news has come out today. Um, Four coaches have been fired. Raheem Morris down in Atlanta, Jonathan Gannon in Arizona, Pete Carroll has been fired as coach of the Raiders, and Kevin Stefanski fired as coach of the Browns. I will do a total separate episode on coaches, all the coach firings, because we might see a few more trickle out here. Um, Stefanski was the one I was really surprised about. A lot happened yesterday. Miles Garrett breaks the sack record. I was at that game and able to see that in person. That was really, really cool to see. Did Joe Burrow take a fall? Probably. It wasn't a very convincing sack, and he only got he was getting double teamed every play yesterday. The one play he doesn't get double teamed, he happens to get there, and Burrow goes down about the easiest I've ever seen him go down. Not saying that Miles Garrett didn't earn it, but I thought it was funny that that was the only time he didn't get double teamed yesterday. Lots happened. I'll give a quick rundown of the games. We're gonna look at the playoff bracket. We're gonna take a look at the draft order. Nothing too in depth. A mock draft will be coming out tomorrow. So you'll see that tomorrow when I do that and post it. It's nice now we have the top 18, or I believe top 18 picks are set. Let me look over at this now. Yes, the top 18 picks are set. I think the biggest winner yesterday of the draft is the New York Jets. They move into pick two, and now they are going to have one of the two quarterbacks, which is absolutely huge for that. I will talk about all the coaching staff moves. Obviously, the Giants fired Dayball earlier in the year. Um, could maybe see the Jets getting rid of Aaron Glenn. There's news trickling out as I'm recording this too, so I will keep looking over here. I have Twitter pulled up, making sure as Rappaport tweets currently. Um, it's about Cam Ward. He's fine. Okay. there's a lot of news coming out. Shane Steichen is staying in Indy. Anyway, I want to start talking about some of the games yesterday, and then we'll get into the NFL playoffs. I'm not going to run through every game, but just some of the big ones from Week 18. First big one. There were actually two big ones on Saturday. We'll talk about Panthers Buccaneers first. Buccaneers get the win at home, putting themselves. It looks like into the playoffs, except the weird scenario plays out that we'll talk about later with the Falcons and Saints, where if the Falcons win, the Bucks are still out because then there's a three-way tie. But the Buccaneers do what they need to do to keep themselves in the hunt. They get the win over the Panthers. All three of the teams now finish 8-9. So, spoiler: the Panthers do make the playoffs um, because of the three-way tie. But an 8-9 division winner hosting a playoff game, it's funny, but it's how the NFL works, and I honestly I love it. That was a huge game. Big game later on that day too. Very low scoring, which I was not expecting. Two teams that have scored a lot of points this year. Seahawks, Niners. Yeah, Niners just looked dead all day long. Great defensive battle by the Seahawks there. Offense played well enough. JSN and Kenneth Walker getting involved as much as they need to. I really am liking the Seahawks more and more as the season goes on because I've seen them win multiple ways now. I've seen them win the shootout. I've seen them just blow teams out. I've seen them have to come back and win in the second half. And then I've seen them win games that are defensive battles, very slow paced. And this Seahawks team is dangerous because they find ways to win in more ways than just whatever they're trying to push in their win. Like they can win in multiple ways, which just makes a team very, very dangerous, especially with home field advantage going throughout the playoffs. The next game I'm going to talk about is the one I kind of referenced earlier with the Saints and Falcons. Uh, Obviously, Buccaneers are cheering for the Saints. If the Saints win, the Bucks are in. If the Falcons win, the Panthers are in. Saints had looked red hot, but here are the Falcons who have also been red hot. I believe they won their last four games. Yeah, they won their final four games, the final three before this to clinch this scenario, and they win this one. 19-17 is the final in this game. Falcons pretty much led this entire game. They were just in the, they just were able to hold on, get this win, a big win for them, but more of a big win for the Panthers, who have clinched the playoffs for the first time since they went to the Super Bowl back in 2015. So, congratulations to the Carolina Panthers. I'm a huge, you can see the Alabama helmet behind me. I'm a big Bryce Young fan. So, congratulations to them. They look like they're building something down there. And Dave Canales has been much better than I thought. Another game I'll talk about here, Jaguars, man, they look so good coming into this playoffs. Won't touch too much on that. Cam Little's a beast. Giants win again. They win back-to-back weeks. They fall all the way from pick 1 to pick 5, so that hurts them quite a bit. But they were never really in the quarterback market, so they're okay with being at 5. They might be just outside of one of those marquee pass rushers, but I don't even know that that's what they really needed. They're right in the Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson range, which is what they do need. So while it does suck for them to maybe not have the choice of who they want inside that top 3, they still sit at 5, where they're going to get one of those big time players who they might have taken at 3 anyway. Colts lose again. They start out 7-1 and finish 8-9. We were talking about how we thought they might be the number 1 seed in the playoffs. They don't even make it. They weren't in the running yesterday. They'd already been eliminated. But the Texans, with their win, able to get in and clinch the number 5 seed. Obviously, the Jaguars finish ahead of them, winning that division. Yeah, I mean, just Texans look great. I've been high on them all year. A great defense will take you places in the playoffs, and able to win a tough one yesterday. Bills and Jets, only storyline really out of this. Jets obviously blown out, so they have pick 2, and they don't get an interception. So since interceptions is started being recorded in 1933, they are the only team to go an entire season without interceptions. So congrats. I guess 2 records broken yesterday. The rest of these games won't touch too much on. Obviously, Broncos lock up the top seed with a win over the Chargers. That was a big win for them. Chiefs lose to the Raiders. Didn't really matter. The Raiders already had pick 1, and all that mattered to me personally as a Bengals fan is the Bengals now pick at 10 instead of 9. Rams beat the Cardinals. Again, not too much there. Patriots lock up the number 2 seed with their convincing win over the Dolphins. I think they're the best team in the AFC. I know they have the 2 seed, but they're tied record-wise with the Broncos. Just tiebreakers gives it to the Broncos. Commanders get a big win over the Eagles. Eagles didn't play their starters, so take it as you will. And then the big game last night, Steelers-Ravens. This was for a playoff spot. This was to win the AFC North. Steelers able to have a comeback victory in the second half to win this game. 26-24 is the final. Aaron Rodgers kind of last big showing. Threw the ball 47 times last night. Only the 1 touchdown, but played great. Aaron Rodgers has been everything that has been asked of him and more this year for the Steelers. So Steelers beating the 9-8 allegations and missing the playoffs. They go 10-7. They will host a playoff game, and they will host. I guess I'll just get into. I'm trying to decide if I want to talk about coaches first or if I want to talk about playoffs. I think I'm just going to go into playoffs. As I was saying, the Steelers will host the Texans as that 4-5 game in Acrisure Stadium. So let's get right into the playoff bracket. I do actually have it pulled up here so we can look at it together. A very interesting bracket. There are some very interesting matchups in there in this, and I will talk about some of these. Maybe where I see some upsets, and just some storylines to look out for. So obviously, if you don't know how the playoffs work, I understand that you see the Broncos there as the 1 seed. They do not play the winner of the Steelers and the Texans. They could, if all the favorites win, they would play the Steelers, but they will play the lowest seed remaining. So say the Chargers win in round 1, they'll play the Chargers. It'll be whatever the lowest seed is who they will play. It gets reseeded there, and then they go from there. So we'll start in the top left there. We'll talk about this first game where I think everyone is going to pick the Texans to win this game. The Texans are a better football team, better record, have played so much better. Going to be interesting because Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs has had his ups and downs. Steelers haven't been great. The playoffs, they haven't won a playoff game in forever, even when they were top seeds. I will take the Texans in this one. I'm not going to give predictions to everyone, but this is a game to watch out for. Hey, can the Steelers kind of beat that, go 9-8 and lose in the first round of the playoffs every year allegations where they went 10-7 this year, but not a great matchup for them in the first round. Talk about not a good matchup. How about the Bills and Jags there? This is going to be a great one. The Jags have been one of the best teams in football the last couple weeks. But anytime you're playing Josh Allen, regardless of when you're playing them or where you're playing them, this is going to be a good one. I'm very very excited for this game. I don't know if it's the game I'm most excited for, but it's right up there. I think the game I'm most excited for is going to be the last one I talk about. But this game is very very exciting. Trevor Lawrence versus Josh Allen. Trevor Lawrence has looked much more like the quarterback we thought he would look like coming out of Clemson. That kind of can't miss. This guy is going to be great. Mostly how we looked at like Joe Burrow coming out. Um, just kind of can't miss prospect, and wasn't really, we had question marks about him for the first couple years. He has broken out this year, especially late here. Looks incredible. Very excited for that game. As am I for this next game of the 7-seeded Chargers and 2-seeded Patriots. Chargers have to go to Foxborough. We get to see a game in Foxborough for the first time since 2019. Um, I believe 2019 was when Brady left. They lost the Titans in round one. But yeah, this is gonna be great. Justin Herbert back in the playoffs, has yet to win a playoff game. Um, he has got. I think this is his best team going in. I wish that offensive line could be more healthy and protect him better. Um, I'm very interested in this. I think I would take the Patriots in this game, but this one's going to be good. I think all three of these matchups are very intriguing. We don't really have a matchup like in this first round where I'm like, man, like what are we doing here? Even the Steelers this year with Rodgers, I think look more competitive and they found ways to win. In past years, I would look at that Steelers game and be like, I remember I think it was a couple of years ago they played the Chiefs in round one in Arrowhead, and I was just like, why are we even playing this game? Like this is not gonna be close, and it wasn't. But yeah, all those matchups will be good. I'll give predictions a little later in the week. I'll do another episode before the playoffs start, and give my predictions for the entire bracket. I'll move to the NFC now. This might be the game that people point at and say, this is why are we playing this? The Panthers are 8-9. The Rams have looked great all year. Like, why are we playing this? People seem to maybe forget that the Panthers beat the Rams just a couple weeks ago in a high scoring shootout. The Panthers won this game. So I am very interested to see this. Are we going to see the same matchup and same result because of it? Or are we going to see what we kind of think is going to happen and the Rams are going to play their brand of football and go win this game and move on to the next round? I'm very interested in this game. This might be the one game you could point to and be like, okay, like really, are the Panthers that serious? But hey, you never know. It's the NFL, and like I said, they just beat them just a couple weeks ago. Obviously, didn't talk about the Seahawks, but the Seahawks do have the number one seed as well as the Broncos on the other side. I'll talk about them more when I give my full predictions for the entire playoffs. Next game, Eagles 49ers. Niners coming off a bad look against those Seahawks that I just talked about. And Eagles coming off resting all of their starters. Again, two teams that are big time powerhouse squads, big time names in this game. This game will be played in Philly, which that atmosphere is always crazy. Everyone knows how into it those Philly fans get. Yeah, no, I'm another one I'm very interested in. Not the game I'm most interested in though. I'm very interested to see if Brock Purdy is able to bounce back kind of from not a great showing when they kind of really needed him. It felt like a playoff game against the Seahawks, and that felt like the whole team just really didn't show up. I mean, only 3 points. Yeah, not incredible from them. Very interested in that one. This is the game though that I think is the most intriguing because why wouldn't it be? Packers Bears, best rivalry in football, one of the best rivalries in sports, and it's played in Soldier Field in Chicago. Green Bay kind of banged up. I know Jordan Love didn't play, but was cleared to play. Going into this game, yeah, incredible from both of the two seeds, the Bears and the Patriots, who both did not make the playoffs last year. Fire their coaches, hire new ones. Ben Johnson turns this team around. They are the number 2 seed in the NFC. I kind of just kept waiting for this team to kind of fall off, maybe. Like maybe, hey, they're kind of hot, but they're not gonna win out. They're really not. They might end up as a 6 or 7 seed and maybe not as good as this. They're the 2 seed. They lose yesterday to the Lions. The Lions all of a sudden decide to play some of their best football. That game was kind of sloppy at the end too. The Bears needed 16 points in the fourth quarter to tie it, and then the the Lions kick a game-winning field goal by Jake Bates. Yeah, all these games are games that I'm very excited about. I would say that last one for sure. Very excited to see Caleb Williams in the playoffs. Can he do enough to get them to win? He doesn't have to be he doesn't have to be Superman in this game. He's got to just not make the bad decisions. He's got to make the correct decisions, the correct reads, and put his team in a position to win this game. Because this Packers team is very, very good. I know they're the 7th seed, but this is a very, very good Packers team. They split the series throughout the season, so it's kind of a winner take all game 3 to see who will move on. And if the Packers are able to win this game, they would play Seattle next, which I think is another really, really great matchup. Not a bad matchup that I see here in this first round. Very excited for all of them. As I'll flip back over. Again, like I said, I will talk about the entire bracket and where I have like my predictions for each game and what I kind of see as storylines going throughout in an episode later this week before the playoffs start. There's gonna be a lot of stuff coming at you this week with the mock draft, talking about coaches, talking about the playoffs. Lots of information as we head into the playoffs here. Last thing I really want to talk about today is the NFL draft and just kind of talk about the draft order. I don't have it pulled up here, but I do have it pulled up here. We have the top 18 picks here, and I want to talk about some winners and losers. The Kansas City Chiefs lose their last 6 games. They finished 6-11. Could anyone at the beginning of the year, if I had told you that the Bengals, Chiefs, and Saints would all finish with the same record, I think everyone would have been like, oh man, the Saints, Tyler Shuck must have really done great. They must have made the playoffs somehow. Nope. All 3 teams are 6-11. Yeah, Chiefs lose their final 6 after starting 6-5 and end up with pick 9. Arizona loses their final 9 to jump all the way up to pick 3. They're going to miss out on a quarterback, which I think is going to hurt them because now when I had the Giants, when the Giants were picking inside the top 2, I had them trading out of that pick every single time because there are teams that need quarterbacks. Well, 2 of the teams that need quarterbacks are the Raiders and the Jets, who both pick 1 and 2. They're not moving off those picks. They're going to pick one of Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore. I'll touch on tomorrow, who I think is going to go number 1. And then as the draft process goes on, the offseason goes on later, we'll find out more and more of what Vegas likes. And then I think the Jets will take the other one because I think they're neck and neck. I think you could take either one at number 1 and be completely fine with it. Interested to see where Arizona goes, though. I think they're going to have to go defense because that defense kind of really, really struggled down the stretch. But who's going to be quarterback? It doesn't look like Kyler Murray is going to play quarterback anymore in Arizona. A new coach coming in. Interested to see who that is. Tennessee sticks at 4, losing their last 2 games. Great spot for them. They're going to get one of those marquee edge rushers in either Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain. I think number 4 is the perfect spot for them where they don't have to move down. They don't have to move up. They can kind of do whatever they want. Giants at 5. I mentioned this earlier. They're probably not going to get either Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain. I think I have them going number 3 and number 4. If they do, not sure that they really need it. Arvell Reese would maybe fit in that defense more, but you've drafted edge rusher a couple of times now, and you've got Brian Burns and Abdul Carter. Ruben Bain wouldn't make as much sense as a draft pick here, so I think they're hoping that Carnell Tate is still there at number 5 and Tennessee doesn't take him at number 4 so they can grab that. If not, they could grab Jordan Tyson. There's a couple ways they could go at 5. At number 6, Cleveland, again with the win yesterday, they kind of fall outside of maybe even Carnell Tate territory. Depends on how high the Titans and Giants value him. They could still look. They have to go offense. That defense is so good. They could maybe use another edge rusher. I don't think Ruben Bain or Arvell Reese will fall that far. David Bailey out of Texas Tech is a guy, but I think that's a little much of a reach for him there for the Browns because that's not really their need. They need some offense. So I would go offense there in Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate. Washington at 7. A lot of ways they could go. That's a fine spot for them. I think that team's a lot better than we saw this year. We kind of saw it yesterday. But Jane Daniels, give him a full healthy season, and let's see what he can do while he's not dealing with injuries all year long. Because we saw him in his rookie year, how electric he is. Mentioned the New Orleans Saints at number 8. They lost yesterday, but had gone on a winning streak to kind of keep dropping their draft stock. Interested to see where they go. Go get Tyler Shuck. Some help on that offense is where the direction that I would move in. Would love a receiver there. Taysom Hill retiring. I think it's a little high for Kenyon Sadiq, but maybe not. Maybe you like him that much and you're able to do that, or trade down a little bit and maybe go get that. Look at a team at 11 like Miami who needs corner, who could go up. Say they love Jermod McCoy. All right, they'll go up to 8, grab Jermod McCoy. New Orleans can slide down to 11 and take Kenyon Sadiq there. Number 9, Kansas City. Feels like it's going to be Jeremiah Love. They've needed a running back for so long, and Jeremiah Love is going to be just sitting there unless the Saints take him at 8. Another thing I'd like to talk about there, Alvin Kamara, not getting any younger. Actually, towards the tail end of his career, he's been there forever. They love utilizing running backs. Kellen Moore loved utilizing running backs wherever he's been. Um, wouldn't hate them drafting Jeremiah Love there at number 8 to kind of fill that Alvin Kamara hole. I think he goes at number 9 to Kansas City. They've needed a running back for so long. The only exception to this would be I know they tried trading for Breece Hall, who is now a free agent. As long as the Jets do not tag him, um, I would expect that Kansas City is going to be the leader in his market, and it seems like that interest is mutual. Bengals at 10 has to be defense. I would love it to be edge rusher. I understand that they've drafted edge rusher 2 of the last 3 years with Myles Murphy. Um, or maybe it's 3 of the last, or 2 of the last 4. Anyway, they drafted Myles Murphy in the first round a couple of years ago. They drafted Shamar Stewart this year. Shamar Stewart was playing much better as the season went on. He actually played pretty fine yesterday. If somehow, some way, one of the premier pass rushers is still there, and Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain, you have to take them. I would take David Bailey as well if he's still there. If not, I would love Caleb Downs. I think that's another guy who the safety position has not been too great. Jordan Battle looked fine, but Geno Stone has been a liability for the Bengals all season long. I know it's a different type of safety, but Jordan Battle can play over the top. He did at Alabama. He played kind of that more free safety role. He's more in the strong safety role now. But you could switch Caleb Downs to that strong safety, box safety kind of look, and feel comfortable leaving Jordan Battle over the top, much like he played at Alabama. Miami at 11 already touched. They need corner. Jermod McCoy is my pick here. if you like him, excuse me, the most of any of the corners, Jermod McCoy would be my pick. A lot of ways they could go. I believe they've already come out and said Mike McDaniel is staying. I haven't seen anything of it as I'll refresh Twitter here. Um, yeah, not seeing anything about that. I believe I saw earlier that it was expected he would come back. Also, Tua not expected to be the quarterback next year, so interested to see how they manage that. With if they cut him, that's a huge cap hit. It could also, if Tua is cut by the Dolphins, he will get picked up somewhere. So interested to see how that all plays out. Dallas at 12 has to be linebacker, or just defense in general. You could go a different kind of a couple different ways with this. If I were them, it would be a linebacker. Unless they kind of go, obviously Arvell Reese is the big name to talk about. You could go with a guy like Peter Woods if he's still there. But I feel like it has to be either edge rusher or linebacker. You could also see a corner here with cutting Trayvon Diggs, say if Jermod McCoy is still there. Just the injury concerns this past year and recovering from a torn ACL, you're a little more hesitant. He's going to fall down this board because of it. If Jermod McCoy plays all year long, he's probably a top 5 pick. He still could be. You could see the Giants at number 5 saying, hey, he looks good in his physical. I believe he's expected to be able to perform at the NFL Combine. So if he looks fine, if he runs fine, you could definitely see him going inside the top 5. Atlanta's pick that is now the Rams pick at 13. This pick, because Atlanta won the last 4, it looked like this pick could maybe even fall inside the top 5. Instead, it falls at 13. Still a great pick for the Rams. The Rams can kind of do whatever they want with this. I don't think this is Ty Simpson. I know it's been floated out a couple times. He also, the reports are he is looking for a first-round draft grade, or he's going back to school. Might even look to transfer. Lot going on there. When I talk about college football, at some point in the next week or two, I'll kind of touch on some of the transfer portal news that's been going on with guys linked to other places. Going to be mainly NFL focused here for a little bit, just because the playoffs are starting and everything's going on. draft and all that. Baltimore at 14 lose last night and missed the playoffs. Yeah, this was my preseason Super Bowl winner, my prediction. So not what I wanted to see with them losing last night. Obviously, being a Bengals fan, I don't like either Baltimore or Pittsburgh, but I wanted Baltimore to win just to not have to say that my preseason Super Bowl winner missed the playoffs. Disaster of a season for them. Yeah, I don't know. This team needs some help. The defense looked so bad early in the year and then got better as the season went on. And there's a lot of stuff with Lamar. Very interested to see where they go with this pick. Interior D line or edge rusher is probably where I would see them going. Could see them going linebacker as well. Roquan Smith's not getting any younger. Um, I would say somewhere on defense unless there's a big time receiver that you want to go get. I understand Zay Flowers made the Pro Bowl, but outside of that, it's kind of a question mark. I know Tez Walker looked better last night. Made big time touchdown catch in the first quarter there. Yeah, interested to see where they go with this. A bunch of different ways Baltimore could go. Tampa at 15 misses the playoffs in heartbreaking fashion, out of their hands with a three-way tie. I've had Kenyon Sadiq going here the whole time. Of course, as I predict that Kate Otten has a great game. Bunch of ways they could go. Very interested to see in that. Jets at 16 via the Sauce Gardner trade with Indy. This ends up being a much better pick than they thought it was going to be. Obviously, they thought this was going to be a team that they would hope to lose early in the playoffs to get a better pick. Instead, they missed the playoffs entirely. Jets picked twice in the top 16, and I expect them to go quarterback at number 2. So they could go a lot of different ways with this. Kind of depends how this board falls. With Indy losing their last 7 games. Excuse me. We have Detroit at 17, also missing the playoffs. Very surprising from me. Lots of different ways they could go. I think edge rusher or corner is probably the way that they go here. And Minnesota winning their last 5 games really hurts their draft position. They are the first team out of the playoffs at 18. Yeah, it's weird. JJ McCarthy just can't stay healthy. He hasn't looked good even when he's healthy, but cannot stay healthy. Very interested to see where they go with that pick. Like I mentioned, a mock draft will be coming out tomorrow. I'll actually probably run through it right now. I might even record it later today, but it will come out tomorrow. This will come out today. And then I will post that tomorrow to kind of give my picks. The top 18 will be big because those draft positions are set. And as the playoffs go on and on more and more, we will see where everyone else falls in this draft order. That is all I have for today. I know there's a lot to jam in. If I didn't touch on anything that you wanted me to touch on, let me know down in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Go follow us on the socials. I have the TikTok and Instagram linked down there in the bottom right. But yeah, let me know in the comments your thoughts on some of the coaching decisions going around, the playoffs, some reactions to yesterday, Myles Garrett breaking the sack record. Do you think Joe Burrow took a fall? I mentioned before. I don't know if it was a Brett Favre type of fall with Michael Strahan, but he definitely didn't try to escape too much. But yeah, a lot of information. Let me know if I missed anything, and I can talk about it in a future episode. But that is all I have for you today. So from wherever you may be listening, whatever time it may be, I'm Ryan Dooley, and this was Let's Talk Football. Thank you for watching this episode of Let's Talk Football. If you enjoyed what you heard today, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, comment down below with what you would like to see me talk about next. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more just like it, click on the video right now to see my last episode, and let's talk more football.